completely at this point?
No.
Nope.
So like I said, questions about this, but also questions about the original Tremors.
I got a question. How fast do the Shriekers grow?
How fast do they go? Well, fairly fast. You know, we're cheating a little bit, I think, you know, in the course of the movie, because it sort of seems like you get full-size ones in a couple, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Mama, come on.
Yes.
You guys picked Frank Welker to do the sound effects for the Graboids. What made you pick him over the sound effects?
What?
He's the voice of Megatron, by the way.
On this movie or on
the first movie?
Whoa.
Steve Flick was in charge of, or was the supervisor for all of the sound effects, and Frank Welker was somebody who would make animal sounds.
So his just sold you on his, or?
He was just he was a talented sound person. I mean, he actually, he would make sounds that could be used.
Yeah, I tried to get in touch with Steve Flick to ask him some specifics about both this movie and the first movie. I haven't been able to track him down. Because someone told me, you told me, I think, that either the Shriekers or some part of the Graboids was a flushing toilet.
Yes. They combined a lot of sounds.
Yeah.
For the
Right.
But Frank Welker, toilet, various things. Yeah, and Steve Flick went to USC with us.
Yeah.
And we were all film students together, so that's how we knew him.
Yes. Cool.
How long did it take to make the Graboids and the Shriekers?
To actually build the puppets, you mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people work on it as hard as they can. I don't know for sure.
Once a long process.
The longest part of the process is the design process. They draw pictures, then they make one out of clay like this big, and we all talk about it and say, do this, change that. That takes, you know, sort of weeks and weeks. I think once they really start working and they make the giant clay one, which they did for the first movie, I'm gonna say it's a couple of weeks to cover it in foam, and then you put it in a giant oven and bake the foam to get your rubber graboid out of there.
And in this film, Phil Tippett, who is a very talented creature person who went into animation, did work on this as well. And Phil worked on Jurassic Park and so many great films.
Yes, we were very delighted to get Phil Tippett to work on this picture. He's responsible for the unusual moves that the Shriekers do. They're very lifelike. If you watch individual Shriekers, they're always doing, even the one that gets its tongue smashed, it falls off and then it's mad at the other one.
Individual things.
Yeah, individual details Phil was famous for. Are you raising your hand? Yeah. Okay, I thought you might be going to sleep.
When the Shriekers try to detect heat, a little flame on their heads pop up. Why do they do that?
What the people say in the movie is that's the way the Shriekers see your body heat. It's an infrared sensor, so if they look through that skin, they see the warmth of our body. That's how they find you.
Oh.
That's the heat-seeking organ.
That's also like why they can't see you just without it popping up, because they can't see through objects.
That's right. They have to look. They have to lift it up to be able to see. Yeah.
So for, I guess, like kind of a two-parter, for this one, like when the graboid comes out of the ground and gets the chain, did you guys kind of use the same mechanics with the first one where it was popping out of the ground, right in front of like everybody by the pole, and then, or?
Didn't quite follow it.
The graboid coming out of the ground was similar process as in the first
Well,
film.
we we were frustrated on the first movie with these elevators that we
Yeah.
had that would jam when they got dirt in them, and yet they were built in the dirt, so it was kind of a problem. And they never ran as fast as
And
we
they were always
wanted
very
to.
slow.
So Peter Chesney was the effects coordinator for for Tremors 2, and he came on and I said, I really want them to go faster if they can. He said, all right, it's bungee cords. And we're like, what? And
Oh, wow.
the one that almost gets Grady
Yeah.
is in an enormous pit with 1,000 bungee cords,
Yeah.
effectively big rubber band kinds of things. And Peter said, we'll do it that way, blast it through the roof that way,
Okay.
and it worked a lot better.
He was very good.
Yeah, Peter
Special
Chesney was
effects.
amazing. He gave me my giant explosion at the end too.
Oh
It was real HE.
yeah, for the explosion, were you guys like, was there people that just like tossing things at them as they're in the ditch, or did you like just have some kind of like catapult launched at
Oh no, it's the whole. This is a Tremors tradition. At some point in the movie, the entire crew stands around and throws things at the cameras.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
For the scene when the truck's getting pulled by the graboid, how did you guys achieve that effect of getting dragged?
The truck being dragged?
Yeah, when the chain was hooked onto the graboid.
Well, a couple of nice details about that. First of all, Peter built a track underground. It was like a mini railroad track with pulleys, and that could be hooked to another vehicle, and was easily strong enough to pull the big old Jeep Gladiator. And then the second part of that is what frustrated him is he said, well, if it's being towed by a graboid, the chain has to be taut. So the chain in many of the shots is actually all welded together in one solid piece,
Makes sense.
so that it wouldn't sag. Yes.
This is actually for both of you. What were the pros and cons, and which was harder to operate, the graboids or the shriekers, in bringing them to life in both movies? Since you're both the director of each one, like what was harder, graboids or shriekers to operate?
Did work with both of them.
Yeah.
Well, we relied more heavily on the shriekers. The shriekers, the creature people with amalgamated dynamics deliberately made the shriekers very controllable, so that you had probably 5 or 6 puppeteers on what we call the hero shrieker.
Okay.
Operating the tongue, operating the legs, operating the head, operating the beak. So for this movie, for Tremors 2, the shriekers would have been the more complicated puppets, because we didn't do too much with the graboids, except for the one that Grady goes and whacks. Even that one wasn't fully articulated with tentacles and whatnot. So there a lot more work went into the Tremors 1 graboids, and more work went into the Tremors 2 shriekers.
Okay.
Anyone else? Yes.
How many RC cars were used to kill the graboids?
I'm having trouble hearing.
How many RC cars?
What's that?
How many RC cars were used to kill the
Oh,
graboids?
I don't know. We don't. In a movie, we usually buy extras of everything. We had at least 3 because there's the one that gets blown up, and Grady's wearing one at one point. I don't know if you can see it, but and then of course Bert had one. So we had at least we had at least 4 or 5. We probably had extras in reserve that we didn't shoot with, but you always want to have extras in case something goes wrong. Probably 4 or 5.
Ooh. I have a really nerdy one. So in both Tremors 1 and Tremors 2, there seems like there's a bit of a Jaws homage. Tremors 1 has, when Walter gets eaten, it's much like Quint, when Quint gets taken down. And then Tremors 2, when they get pulled with the buoys in Jaws, and they're with the truck, same thing or whatever. Is this intentional at all?
Not really.
Damn it, Steve! You're supposed to say yes!
For several movies, Brent and I had this ongoing idea of wouldn't it be cool if there was something that pulled your car like a whale, like a whaling. We were both like big Moby Dick fans.
Okay.
And with Tremors 2, we said, oh, we got it. We got the underground whale, and we got the boat. We can do the gag. So no, we weren't actually thinking about Jaws.
Damn it.
Really effective.
Yeah, it's a fun sequence. Yes.
I guess the same question, but for Jurassic Park, because I feel like there's a few little similarities.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there may be. I mean, we're all kind of working from the same pot of ideas all the time.
So not consciously, but maybe.
But specifically, you mean? Or,
Yeah, so like the hand reveal on the back of the truck.
oh, you know,
The hand reveal.
A true story. I didn't remember that was in Jurassic Park until I re-saw the movie a few years ago.
Oh.
Wow, we did it in Tremors too.
Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Then in the series and the episodes we watched today, there's that line Jurassic Park wannabes. I don't know, that was
Yeah.
like another
It's
little.
totally
Yeah.
the same moment, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
For the scene where Bert encounters his first graboid and kills it with 4 pounds of C4, why was he on the ground doing this?
You know, that's always bothered me a little bit too. I don't know why we shot it that way, other than that he was very confident that his remote control was going to attract the creature. But yeah, it does seem like a misstep to me too. Tonight I was thinking that very thing. Back there.
Do you know how much explosive was used for the film?
Not really. Peter was in charge of all of that. Just I was the one saying, "Give me more."
It was a
all the
lot.
time.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah, he enjoyed the fact that having been in the service and so forth, I knew a little bit about what real explosions look like, and he was happy not to do the typical Hollywood explosion, which doesn't really make any noise or have any concussion, and it usually has a big fireball in it. And you can do that and almost not hear it in the next room if you do it right, and that's usually what you want. You don't want to break windows and hurt people's eardrums. We had people so far away from that miniature building. In fact, I myself watched it, I think, from probably half a mile away.
And then all the creature explosions.
Yeah, there was lots of creatures. Yeah, in fact, they brought me to the Shrieker 3 times for the time that Earl shoots it with the elephant gun. They came running over between takes and said, "How big is this? How is this bullet hit?" And they go, "Blam." No, bigger. Take the Shrieker back, come back. And go, "Okay, Steve, here's the next bullet hit." Blam. No good. So they finally blew it in half. And I'm like, yeah. So, yeah, well, we used a number of high explosives, and high explosives are weird. They don't look like dynamite or anything. It's just a white plastic tube with pink stuff, and pink powder inside of it. And we had 4 or 5 of those in the miniature, but not a ton of other explosives because there are not a lot of bullet hits and things in the movie. It's not that kind of movie. Yes.
For both of you, what do you miss most about making Tremors movies?
Miss.
Yeah. I mean, you're here like 35 years later talking about it. Like, what do you like both miss most?
We're still standing.
Yeah. Don't jinx yourself.
Anything stand out?
I mean, it's it was fun making them, and so I mean the process is fun always, and trying to get it right, and you're trying to do things that are physically not possible, and you're going against all science and physics in trying to create something that looks realistic, and so that's fun to try to achieve that.
Yeah, it's fun. I can't say that I miss the opportunity to go out and do new
Yep.
ideas. That's what because we feel like we kind of nailed Tremors. So
I'd say so.
yeah.
When making the first movie, do you think that did you know that already that you were gonna move on to the Shriekers and then to the Asplats?
Oh, absolutely not. No. First of all, the first movie didn't do well, and nobody was thinking or talking about a sequel, and we didn't think about it ourselves for many years until they called us and said, "What about a sequel?" And we said, "What?" But no, we had no plan, and that was a struggle because when they called us and said we must have Tremors 2, we must have it immediately, we thought, oh man, where do you go with this idea? Because the only rule that we had was, well, it's not going to be a queen graboid because there had already been a queen, alien, and even in the 50s there was queen monsters, and then we said, okay, no queen no matter what, and that's how we backed into Tiny. We said, all right, well, it can't be a queen. What if it's small? Can it be scary and small? Maybe. So that's how we backed into it. Yes.
How come Bert and his girlfriend broke up?
What we said, what we came up with, this happened because Reba McEntire was busy and she couldn't come back to be in Tremors 2. What we said was that Bert had just gotten too extreme to live with. He was so worried about Russia and World War III that he was just hard to get along with. So she finally was fed up and she left. Yes.
We often hear about the test audience where they wanted that kiss in the first one,
Oh yeah.
but I don't think that we really ever hear anything else about the test audiences from the original. We watched it all together. We're very animated. What was it like to show it to other people for the very first time?
The first film was an amazing experience. We tested it first in Long Beach, I think, and it was just a phenomenal screening. And it gave the studio confidence to want to spend more money on it, which was great. I mean,
Had we finished shooting?
yeah, we had finished.
Had we shot the car and everything? The car was sinking?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
it was finished.
Yeah, it was finished.
Okay.
But the audience started chanting, "Kiss her, kiss her, kiss her," and so then the head of the studio said, "The audience will just go mental if we have them kiss," and I mean, we thought that it was nice to have the audience want them to kiss and not kiss, but
We
it
probably
works.
were wrong about that.
Yeah.
That was literally good.
It's on the outtakes. I'm
Yeah.
sure you've seen the original ending.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, one of the reasons it was surprising and disappointing that it didn't have a great box office. It wasn't a flop. It made its money back, but it wasn't a hit.
It's never made a
these
dime.
are the
The red.
yeah these the early audiences just went crazy. They just loved it. They're thinking, wow, yeah, that's what we want. And it was very surprising that it went out and just sort of didn't do anything.
But it was a different kind of horror film at the time for what horror films were. And the studio really just wanted the horror core audience to come see it. That's what they really wanted.
That is what they said. That's
Yes.
what the advertising campaign that they chose and the way they explained it to us is, you know what, it's weird, it's quirky, there's a lot of comedy in it, we'll just sell it as horror, and then everything else will be gravy. And people like my wife never saw it as a result. Back there.
So after Julio got killed by the Shrieker, after a while we see the dead Shrieker outside, and when they're running away from the building, the Shrieker's body's gone. Did the other Shriekers eat that body?
Yes. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right there.
All right, are we Tremors out now?
We got one more.
One year.
Hello.
You used tires in the first movie for the Tremors trails. Did you use one tire in the second movie at all? When you put the tires and you drug them in the first movie for special effects? Did you use
The buoy.
Buoy.
The buoy.
Oh,
Yeah.
boys. Yes. Yeah, we built the exact same rig.
And it
out on
worked
that
the
location.
same way. It looked,
That rig designed for Tremors 1 never failed us.
that was the best effect we had.
Yeah. Yeah, we did the exact same thing for the whole beginning there for the oil workers crawling on the pipe. Yeah. Okay, one more.
One more.
Going with the buoy one, how did you guys achieve the barrels falling over in the oil field?
With that hump.
Same thing, underground, or
We
was
literally just put the barrels on top of the hump track
Okay.
and pulled the hump and knocked them over.
Nice.
It was fantastic. Yeah, it was really the graboid doing it. It was- yeah.
Also when the graboid we saw when Bert and Earl were going graboid hunting, the graboid that Earl caught alive, when they came back to check on it and they saw that something had come out of it, and I saw that the tongue was gone, so like, are the little tentacle tongues like what turn into shriekers?
No, people have asked that question before. That's not what we think. We think the shriekers probably come out and eat the tongues because they're kind of gross little creatures. But that wasn't the idea that the tongues turn into shriekers. We feel like the shriekers form inside the body in these bags and then they eat their way out.
Oh.
Why that?
Cool.
Yes.
One last.
Would Grady have been used as graboid bait if he was paired with Bert instead of Earl?
What was the complete question?
would Grady have been used as graboid bait if he was paired with Bert?
Oh. I don't know. I don't think Bert is quite that cold-hearted. Bert is actually a soft dude. But
Cool.
Glenn maybe have disappeared.
Yeah.
I think I'm supposed to pull the plug.
We're now to wrap up. I'll do that for you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. You've all been fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron and Steve. Thank you. Thank you. Ugh.